and welcome to July's wrap-up video. Again, where I wrap up my month of July. The month of July got a little bit better. It kind of went back and forth between being good and bad. Let's just get into it. Don't have an opening for this one, let's just go. So let's start with the books that I read for the month of July. The first book I read is Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. This was the book club book for June. I know I have it in July, but that's because I didn't finish reading it until like the beginning of July. So this book is also a movie that stars Leonardo DiCaprio, and I did see the movie like a bunch of years ago. And because it's been so long since I've seen this movie, I honestly don't know how much of the book and the movie are different from each other or how much they're similar. And it was kind of cool to go back to that story and like remember things as I'm reading it. So this is an adult psychological mystery. So it's about these two cops that have to go to Shutter Island because something happened at the hospital for the criminally insane that is on this island. One of the patients went missing, so they have to go and try to find her. That's basically kind of the premise. So overall, I definitely did enjoy this book. I just don't think it's really my cup of tea. So I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is one I don't own. It was my cousin's. It was sitting around her apartment, so I decided to read it. And that is Brooklyn by, oh my goodness, Boyband, I think is how you pronounce his name. I have no idea. And this is another book that has a movie based off of it, and I have seen this movie and I absolutely love this movie. It's a really beautiful story about love, but also about moving across the country and becoming your own person and learning a whole new culture. It takes place in the 1930s, I want to say, and it's about this woman who moves from Ireland to America, and she meets this boy, she falls in love, she's also trying to start her career. It's just a really great story, although I will say I definitely liked the movie more than the book. I don't know if that's because I watched the movie before reading the book, but I felt the book was a little bit boring, to be honest. I felt the writing sometimes was just really slow, and I felt the movie was so much more interesting. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the book. I truly do like this story a lot, but I just think the movie conveyed it a little bit better for me and made it more interesting than the book did. So that is why I'm gonna have to give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in the month of July is Parallel Lines by David Monster, although I do know that that is not his real last name. David Monster is a friend of mine, and he wrote this book and he gave it to me so I could read it and review it for him. I was very hesitant because I usually don't like to read or even watch things that my friends have created because I'm always scared I'm not going to like it and I'm going to have to tell them that I don't like it. I don't like telling people I don't like their stuff. And also this cover kind of like made me hesitant too, because I was like, I don't know if this is something I'm going to really like, but I read it anyway, and it's very short, so it's fast to get through. So this is a sci-fi, in case you couldn't tell by the cover. To be honest, this is such a very hard concept to explain, so I'm going to do my best. Bear with me. So there's this woman, she's becoming the next hottest actress on this planet, and she switches agents, and her agent sort of becomes like her husband, but he's very abusive. There's also these two like teenage guys in high school that are on some other planet just living their life. These people end up being connected to each other. I don't know how to explain it without giving it away. So I actually did enjoy this a lot more than I thought I would. It's definitely written a lot differently than most books are written. It definitely has 2 different perspectives. You come from her perspective and the teenage boy's perspective. It's just very interesting. There were definitely some parts that were hard to follow and I couldn't really understand what was going on or like why something was happening, but I definitely liked how fast-paced it was, and it was kind of like a roller coaster ride of a journey to be on, and you just wanted her to get better and get out of this relationship. So I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read this month, A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. Again, another author's name I don't know how to pronounce. This is a children's book. It is the first book in a quintet. So a synopsis that does not give away this book is going to be a little bit difficult, but it's about these 3 kids that go on this adventure through a bunch of different universes and planets trying to save their dad. And this book is also becoming a movie, I believe, next year. So that was the main reason I picked this up, was because it's becoming a movie and I do want to watch the movie. And a lot of people have talked about this book, but this book is considered a classic, I believe. I just wanted to give this story a try, and I did enjoy it. I definitely wanted to read a kid's book this month to kind of take myself away from being an adult for just like a couple hours. And also this is a really fast, quick read. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Now on to the movies I watched this month. So I watched 3 movies this month, and the first one is Serenity. As you guys know, I have watched the Firefly TV show, and the ending of that TV show was just not fulfilling at all. So thankfully they came out with a movie to kind of give it an ending. The writing was just not as good as the TV show. I don't know if that's just, I think it might have been because they were trying to cram so much into one movie. I liked that they gave an ending to Serenity because Serenity definitely needed an ending, and I'm so glad that they made River such a badass woman, and yes, loved it. So I gave this movie 4 out of 5 stars. The next movie I watched is Moana. I finally watched Moana. It was on Netflix, and my friends were surprised that I hadn't seen it yet, so they're like, "You're watching it?" So I watched it. It's about this girl named Moana who lives on an island, and the ocean is like talking to her, but no one's allowed to like leave the island. No one's allowed to go past this certain point in the ocean, but she wants to, and she feels like she has to because the island is starting to die, and she thinks she knows the reason why. So she eventually leaves the island, goes and finds this god, and goes on this adventure with him to save her island, basically. So it was definitely very cute, and I loved the music. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote the music, so of course I love the music. It was definitely not my favorite Disney Pixar movie out of all of them, but it definitely was a good one, and I liked it very much. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And the last movie that I watched this month is Stardust. I have been wanting to watch this movie, honestly, since it came out so many years ago. I honestly can't even remember when it came out, but it was a very long time ago. And I finally watched it. I did enjoy it. I realize I say enjoy a lot, but I don't know what other words I can use. Help me out to figure out what other words I can use besides enjoy, but I really did enjoy this movie. I honestly cannot explain the concept of this movie. It's so weird. A star has basically fallen from the sky, and she goes on this adventure with this guy, but this guy is also going through some shit. I don't know how to explain this movie. But this movie is also based off of a book by Neil Gaiman called Stardust, which I have not read yet, but I do want to read it at some point in my life. So hopefully I will get to that. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Now on to my favorite moments of this month, and I do have a lot of favorite moments this month, so I'm very excited to share them with you. The first favorite moment I have are the Harry Potter concerts that I went to. The Hollywood Bowl was doing this thing where they were showing a Harry Potter movie and then playing the live orchestra music in the background while the movie is playing. So I went to 2 because I think they only had 2, and it was for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and it was super cool. I've never been to the Hollywood Bowl before. It's this outdoor amphitheater. You can even watch the sun go down as you're watching the movie and listening to the music, and it's great. It's wonderful. The first one, the Chamber of Secrets, I went with Crystal. The second one I went to for Prisoner of Azkaban, I went with my cousin Tori, and it was just really fun. It was also just really great to rewatch the Harry Potter movies, because Harry Potter can always just make me feel happy inside. I don't know why, it just does. Alright, so my next favorite moment, I got to see some plays. I saw 2 plays this month. The first one, my cousin took me to because her friend was in it, and she also had a friend that directed it, and I cannot remember the name of either of these plays. This first one was kind of like a serious romance. It was a romantic drama. There we go, romantic drama. It was about these 2 people. They go to this like rehab for psychological issues or for mental issues, and they meet and they become friends, and it turns into this romance, but it also gets very serious at times, and it was very well done. I actually really liked it, and it was one of those plays that really makes you think too. Also, I thought the two people did a phenomenal job in the play. And then of course after that we went out for drinks with with the people in the cast, which was really fun as well. But that was where I met Taylor, who did, like, I think the lighting for the show, and so she invited me to go to another show that she was working on that same month in that same location. So I was like, yeah, I totally want to go. So she got me tickets, and this one was more of a comedy, and it was about a dysfunctional family at Thanksgiving. So I really enjoyed going to see these plays. I hadn't seen a live, like, theater show performance in so long, so it was so great to see that. My next favorite moment, one of my absolute bestest friends in the entire world, Troy Bauer, came to visit me all the way from Pennsylvania. I was so excited, and he brought his friend Paige, who I really bonded with and really loved. And yeah, no, it was fun. He was here for, like, I think 3 days, and so we did a bunch of stuff together. To be honest, I can't even remember half the things, but I have some Snapchats. I wasn't able to save one of the Snapchats, and it makes me very upset because I swear I had saved it. But we went to Griffith Park and the Griffith Observatory. We did a WeHo night, aka a West Hollywood club hopping night, which was really fun. We just had a blast doing things. It was great. I also was just so happy to see him because he is one of my bestest friends in the entire world. And my last favorite moment this month, I went to San Francisco. My friend DJ, as you have all probably met at this point in the vlogs, he lives in San Francisco. He's one of my best friends from high school, so we've been friends for a very long time. I may be here to see this guy, but really I'm excited about this view. This is what I miss the most. And he is in a band, and his band was having their very first performance, and he invited me to it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go see his band perform in San Francisco, and I decided to make a weekend vacation for it. So I got there Thursday for the show, which I ended up becoming a roadie for. I ended up filming their show for them with their camera. We played a lot of Cards Against Humanity. No, oh my god. We did not play Cards Against Humanity. Why did I say that? We played Exploding Kittens. Okay, we played a lot of Exploding Kittens. There we go. Refreshing.
Wow. Yes. Garbage. You fuck. Are you in Anton's? Senores, yes.
We went to a park and just hung out there.
Yeah.
And all the balls are still in the bag.
And we had like a movie night. Like, it was a really fun, relaxing weekend. Like, nothing was really planned either. It was just, we did stuff.
Opportunity comes once in a life.
So those were my favorite moments of this month. Now on to my favorite things. The first of my favorite things this month is ice cream. I don't really have it physically with me right now, unfortunately, but I ate a lot of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I don't know why. I think it was just because I was sad a lot, and so chocolate ice cream, like specifically chocolate ice cream, just made me feel better in a sense, and I was just constantly craving ice cream all month. So I ate a lot of ice cream. Another one of my favorite things this month is actually one of my favorite things every month, but I just used them a lot this month because it was summertime, so it got really hot, so I got sweaty a lot, and also the stress was making my skin even more oily than it already is. So I like these things. You actually can't see them, they're very small. These are Clean and Clear oil absorbing sheets. You just take one of these like blue sheets and you dab it on your face, mainly where the oily skin is, which for me is like the forehead, the nose, and under the eye. This really gets rid of the oil, so I love this thing so much. And actually I'm running very low on these, so I need some more. And the last of my favorite things this month are these. Another item that's very small for you to see, but these are little post-it tabs. I got a new job where I read scripts for a production company and I take notes on them, and these help me take notes. I remember the first time I was taking notes for them, I was more on a trial run and they were going to see if they wanted to basically hire me and give me more work. And this actually is what got me the job. They saw my notes and they were like, oh my god, this looks amazing. So they gave me more work and I just kept taking notes, and I take notes with these little post-it tabs. Alright, now on to the TV shows that I watched this month. It doesn't mean that these were all the TV shows I watched this month, it just means these are the TV shows I want to talk about. And there are two that I want to talk about. The first is The Handmaid's Tale. Oh my god. Okay, so The Handmaid's Tale is getting a lot of hype. Everyone was talking about how much they love this show, so I was like, okay, well I do want to watch it, but I don't have Hulu, because this is a Hulu original TV show. But my cousin Tori has Hulu, so when I stayed with her, I used her Hulu basically to watch The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm very happy I did, because this show was so good. It's a very serious show as well. This is another TV show that is based off of a book called The Handmaid's Tale, and it's by Margaret Atwood. After watching this show, I'm hooked. I'm hooked, and I need to read the book, and I need the second season. This takes place in a not so far future about women who are now having difficulty to reproduce, and so not many kids are being born into the world. So they take the women who can reproduce and they become handmaids, which basically means families, like husbands and wives, hire these ladies to have sex with the husbands to create a kid. And this follows this one girl, Offred. It's not her real name, it's the name she was given, but she is a handmaid. You kind of see that like a rebellion is going to be starting, because no one's really, at least the handmaids themselves are not liking being handmaids, obviously, because basically what's happening is they're being raped like every month. It's a really interesting story and very well shot. Oh my god, like it was so well done. The shots are beautiful. And the second show that I want to talk about, which has already had their finale, and that is Boyband. I originally was going to watch this show to like hate on it, but also secretly like it, and I couldn't hate on it because I loved it so much. This was a new reality TV show on ABC this summer about creating the world's next boy band. If you know me, you know that I absolutely love boy bands. I'm a sucker for boy bands. So I wanted to watch this, but I knew it was like gonna be bad, and it turns out it was actually very good. I think the very beginning it was bad just because the setup was weird, but once it finally got into a rhythm, I really enjoyed it. And of course there were a bunch of favorites that I had, and some of my favorites went home. Sorry if I'm giving a spoiler, but I am giving a spoiler. But I'm so happy that my two top favorites, Chance and Michael Connor, made it into the boy band. I'm very happy about that. And they already have their first single out, so go and listen to it. And this was a very great guilty pleasure of mine. And last but not least, let's talk about my favorite song this month. And to be honest, this is also still my favorite song to this month. I still can't stop listening to it, but it started in July. And that song is There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. I actually really love Shawn Mendes. I should honestly just buy all of his albums, because I only own a few of his songs, and they're basically like the hit songs that are on the radio. Because every time I hear a song of his on the radio, I'm always so in love with it. Like Stitches, loved it. This song, loved it. Mercy, loved it. Like I loved every song he comes out with, so I really feel like I should buy all of his albums because I have a feeling I will love all of his songs. And this song was playing a lot on the radio, and it was one that I was basically just like looking for constantly. I was going through all the radio stations, just being like, are you playing it? Are you playing it? Even though I know I just heard it on this other radio station, I still want to hear it again. Like I love this song. And that is my month as well overall. That is a wrap up, and I've wrapped it up. So now go click this right here to check out August's wrap up, and click up here to subscribe, please. Thank you. Bye.